Today marked the launch of Upstream, a new online resource funded by the Scottish Government and developed by Stop It Now Scotland, who explained to me how it will operate.
Stop It Now Scotland is a child protection charity which works with individuals who prevent a risk of sexual harm to children. And today we're launching a project called Upstream. It's a website for the public and indeed parents in Scotland as well as professionals, which looks at child sexual abuse prevention. What are the concrete and practical things that we can all be doing in society that might contribute in some way to the prevention of harm for children? So we've taken our learning from working with sex offenders and people who present a risk of harm to children over many years, and we've turned that into a number of lessons and ideas on this particular online resource. So how do you speak to your child about online safety? How do you speak to your teenager about consent, relationships, healthy boundaries? What do you do if there's somebody in your life who worries you in some way in terms of their relationship to children? So it provides advice and comprehensive steer for individuals about the things they can do if they're worried about a child.
Having said that, these measures are still limited and, in spite of today's launch, experts still point to a lack of provision for the prevention of child abuse, with emphasis placed perhaps too heavily on what happens afterwards.
I mean, I'm really in the way of talking about healing and recovery, but we need to step in far before that happens. It's too late in many ways for many adults.
So a lot of the work that I do is around the prevention of sexual abuse and how we think about sexual abuse. Typically speaking, we have after the fact responses where you've got a victim and you've got a perpetrator, but actually sexual abuse is a life course issue. It's a developmental issue, and we should be to get the conversation out into communities, to get people more involved in understanding what some of the warning signs and risk factors are so we can prevent sexual abuse, because our current system at the minute only deals with the fallout from sexual abuse, and by the stage it comes into contact with the police or other organisations, the damage is already done.
And that damage is of course often concealed.
The other thing that we need to bear in mind is it's a very secretive, shameful crime. It's one of the most difficult of traumas to actually talk about. And so that's a huge barrier for many, many people. And there's the average time of disclosure for can be 9 to 15 years. Sometimes people don't disclose till they're in their 60s or 70s. And that's because of all of the stigma around that and the impact that may have on them and their families. So people, it remains hidden, and silence cements the abuse in place, so it carries on, and that's a huge barrier.
Stop It Now, and indeed all Scots looking for a robust system of child abuse prevention, will hope that resources such as Upstream are just the start of breaking that silence. Ian McNally, That's TV.